Hey, what's up you guys? It's Joseph with an F here today with a Create a Sim video, the first one on the channel. I was really in the mood to just mess around and create a sim today, so what I decided to do is actually recreate Tybalt Capp from The Sims 2 Veronaville and The Sims 3. That's actually one of my favorite things to do, is convert sims and just kind of give them my own little twists and stuff, because let's face it, a lot of Sims 2 sims kind of look a little busted. So what I just did here was pull up versions of his parents that I had already created, so Caliban and Cordelia, which, if you know, Cordelia is a toddler in my Roaring Heights gameplay on Twitter, and a little bit on Tumblr, but mostly Twitter. So I'm just using them and using their actual genetics to just create a good base for Tybalt, and already you can see this is already a really handsome sim, and that's just because he has really nice looking parents. So here I'm just naming him and choosing his body stuff. He actually has level 10 body skill in The Sims 2, so I decided to make him slightly buff because his body type was listed as thin on the source I was looking at, which I don't think that's correct, but I gave him a bit of muscle and a bit of definition, so there we go. And as you see, I do have a picture of him pulled up so that we can see the kind of vibe we're trying to go for with his looks here. So it took me forever to find a hair for him, because also I just don't know what kind of hair I have custom content wise. So I'm just scrolling and trying out things and also just like going through what I have, and I'll be like, oh, this is kind of cool, like that's nowhere near what he has, but I just kind of like to look at them all, see what all I have, take stock of my inventory. We do settle on this one right here though. I change it up a couple times, but I settle on, yeah, you can see right here I'm changing the color because even then the highlights weren't showing up well, and it just kind of looked really, really flat, kind of like Play-Doh, and I don't like that. I do like to have like where you can see the hair, so I'm going back. In The Sims 2 he has the weird pompadour hair with the thing hanging down, like the one strand in his face, and I don't really like that. So I was looking for a hair that had like strands hanging down, but I decided not to go with that just because it looked really, really messy on all of the ones, and Tybalt doesn't really strike me as a messy sim particularly. He's kind of like the stereotypical older brother, like he cares about his family a lot, like his siblings especially, because they're both younger than him, so he watches out for them really well, but also he's just like a straight up bully. And we don't really know why. What is it? Why is he so mean, other than his family just has beef with the Monties? He just absolutely hates them, especially Mercutio, which, I mean, I don't know about your guys' games, but in my game he always ends up in love and married with like children and Mercutio. They're my OTP, I love them. Here we're going actually in and working on the details of the face. In The Sims 2, all of the Capps have really, really weird, exaggerated proportions, especially when it comes to their cheekbones and their head width. Like, they have really, really skinny heads and really high and, like, super sharp cheekbones, to the point that I'm, like, convinced if you touched them, it would hurt you. So I'm just trying to make that a little more realistic. That's my point. Every time I try to, I don't know if converting as well, but, like, recreate a sim from a previous game. Obviously it's in my sim style, but I do try to keep most of their elements. So he has really high and sharp cheekbones, he has really gaunt features. All the Capps do. They're all super pretty though. They all kind of look like, what are the movies? Tim Burton characters, that's what it is. They're all really pale, they all have really fine, delicate features. And that's, I don't know, I love the Capps. I think they're a great family. Oh, let's see what, well, I don't know. I was gonna look up his description, but I decided not to. I know it mentions that he's like a bully, and he like really cares about the feud for some reason, which is like, hey, that's not really involved you. Like, it's not really his thing, other than his grandpa and his grandma were in it, you know? Well, fun fact, actually, no, now that I say that, I'm wrong. I know that his parents are actually like implied to have been a casualty of the feud, which is really weird. They both died in a fire, and like same thing with Romeo and Mercutio's parents. They both died of starvation, and all four of those parents are just like implied to be like killed as a consequence of the feud, which is insane. Like, why did they do that? Why are they fighting? That's why I love Veronaville. There's so many unanswered questions, and you can like spin it your own way. I've seen people think that, Consort and Patrizio were dating and they broke up, and that's why, or that Contessa cheated on both of them with each other and dated them at once, or that Isabella and Contessa were dating. Like, there are so many different theories as to why they're like so opposed to each other, and I love that. It's really fun, and everyone has their own ideas, and that's what I love about The Sims 2, is that while there's like distinct storylines, like Belagoth is missing and nervous subject gets tortured by the Beakers, but we get to like build our own conclusions, like how did Bella go missing, where is she, why is nervous subject the son of death, you know, those little things. So as you can see here, this is basically how Tybalt looks. I'm messing around with his chin right here because it didn't look bony enough. There we go. Now we're moving on to his outfits. I only keep up that picture of his Sims 2 self in the T-pose so that I can kind of show you guys what I was going for. So I was trying to find a shirt that was like matched that weird cowboy aesthetic, but we don't have one of those. So I went with a jacket from, I think, the Everyday Teens collection from the store, or I think it might be the Jet Set collection. Like, it's the James Dean jacket. It's named after James Dean. I think it's Rebel with a Cause or something like that. It's funny. But it matches almost perfectly with the colors, like I give it the yellow and the red, and it looks really good. Overall, I do think Tybalt is one of the prettier Sims 2 pre-made Sims. I mean, you know, some of them are a little iffy. Like, in my opinion, the oldies from Pleasant View, kinda ugly. Even if you age them down, they're kind of fugly, but that's just my opinion. We all have our own opinions. I do actually match his jean color really, really well, which I was kind of proud of. It's the little things in life you need to celebrate, but he doesn't really have any insane outfits. I didn't match the rest of his outfits because, one, I didn't want to open Sims 2 just to look at his outfits, and two, a lot of times they're just really weird because the game's from 2004. So I just kind of did what I wanted to do with them. Right now we're still looking for shoes for him because I wasn't exactly sure what he had on, if it was tennis shoes, if it was boots, but I did know they were black. So I do have that. And as you can tell, he doesn't have his face paint on, and I realized that right about now. Yeah, that's what I'm going back to do. And I could have sworn I had face paint, like custom content that was a conversion of Tybalt's face paint from The Sims 2. And maybe I'm thinking of The Sims 4, but I could have sworn I had it for The Sims 3. That was confusing. I said all the titles at once. Whatever. Yeah, I'm going through, I'm just thinking right now because I'm like, what the heck am I gonna do? And I'm looking online a little bit too. Trying to shop and look, and I couldn't find any results for it, so I was like, well, maybe it doesn't exist. So I do go in with, oh yeah, actually, I do have some custom content masks that are in accessories that I was like, oh, maybe I can use one of those instead because his face paint is a mask. But then I was like, no, none of them work. But I do show them off a little bit here. Oh, and those were some new glasses. It's like, they're cute, but they're way too bulky. It just wouldn't work. So I go back and I give him, yeah, I thought about just maybe giving him blush or something. No, I go back and I give him just those, like, football player lines under his eyes. And it works. I mean, it still gives the vibe across, and I guess it's a little more realistic than having your whole face painted. So, that's fine. I did think about maybe recoloring the Island Paradise sunscreen so that I could have his nose covered like he does in The Sims 2, but ultimately I was like, that looks really weird, he just has 3 lines on his face, so I went with the football player ones, and it looks nice. Yeah, I think it looks cute. It's on all of his outfits, even his sleepwear and his swimwear, which, in hindsight, I guess he wouldn't really have it on to swim, but whatever. In his formal wear, he just has like a little tuxedo. I thought about maybe giving him one for tails, or with tails, because the caps are so fancy, but no, I just gave him a regular one. It's red though, which is kind of cool, because I really think he would just wear red all the time, like, yeah, this is my color, I'm Tybalt, don't mess with me, I'll fight you. Stereotypical angsty teenager. He's the oldest one of the Capp teens, actually, because him, Juliet, then Hermia, and then Miranda, which is Goneril's kid. So So he actually ages up pretty soon. And here, I'm doing his sleepwear, and I put Agnes Crumplebottom's face, or Miss Crumplebottom, over his little naughty bits, because for some reason, the game spawned his legs completely bare. I think I have broken CC, so I just didn't want you guys to see that. So here I'm giving him just a nightshirt. No, it's an undershirt. And then I'm also just giving him some red boxers. I really feel like he would wear briefs. Yeah, they're briefs. Whatever. I love Tybalt, though. I already said it. I do love him. He is one of my favorite Sims 2 pre-mades because he's just so dramatic. Like, he has to fight all of the Monties if he sees them on community lots or at his house or they're walking by. He just stops everything in all of my games and just goes and fights them. And I love it. And he has face paint on. Like, it's like Transformer face paint. And he's seriously like, I am going to fight you. I am so strong. Do not mess with my family or me. And I don't know. I love it. He just seems really proud of himself and his family name, and I guess that's nice. Here I give him just some little swim trunks, but they're kind of cool, like paint splatter pattern. I got a lot of new patterns right now that I'm kind of testing around, but I really like this one. The reason you don't see much yellow in his outfits that I make for him is that the yellow and the red combination really gave me like McDonald's vibes, so I tried to avoid that as much as possible because I don't like that. They're hungry colors. That's a little bit of color theory. If you put red and yellow together, it makes people hungry, and that's why like most fast food places have them together. You know, that makes sense. Like, you see Burger King has it, McDonald's has it. Most burger places, I think In-N-Out. I've never been to an In-N-Out or even have one near me, but I think In-N-Out's colors are red and yellow. Don't quote me though. So here I'm testing the yellow, just seeing, because I could make it work, and then I was like, no, that's ugly. Like, it just doesn't look nice. So I just recolored it to like darker shades of red, and it looks nice. This is my favorite top from Seasons, and I just never can use it because the sleeves are just ever so slightly rolled up that gloves don't connect with them, and you can't just put long gloves on because it's like, what person is going to wear long gloves? Like evening wear gloves. I did think about giving him biker gloves, but ultimately I decided against it. I just gave him some little slightly brown gloves. And here we go into his traits. So, since I have said he does have the full maxed out body skill, so he's athletic. It says he's outspoken, which I know means like, oh, he's boisterous and loud, but I gave him charismatic because I just feel like he would be. I feel like most of the Capp family is. Then I gave him hot-headed because, as I said, he just goes out and fights the Monties no matter what he's doing. And then I gave him mean-spirited, which I hate giving to my Sims, but he really just seems like a mean Sim. And maybe, you know, maybe Mercutio can melt his heart and make him a nicer Sim. Or maybe his sister can get through to him with her, like, love with Romeo. I don't know. In my mind, he's not actually that much of a mean Sim, but I just feel like he's really angsty, and he has a lot of built-up emotions when it comes to the feud. You can see me double-checking it and being like, well, is that too much of a kind of negative trait? I made his favorite food fish and chips since canonically, like, the Capp side of Veronaville is kind of English, like, Tudor theme, so I was like, oh, that's kind of fun, fish and chips, you know? Like, British people. I wanted to give him, like, rock as his favorite music, and then I was like, 1, we don't have rock, and 2, he wouldn't actually listen to that. So I just put pop. I don't really know what kind of music he would listen to. Red's his favorite color, obviously. And then in the game, he is a Gemini. I think he's a Gemini, yeah. And you can see I don't know anything about astrological signs, so I gave him Pisces at first. And then right here, I do have his outfits, just showing what I ultimately decided, because in case it was a little fast. So they're just spinning around on a little display for you. I think this is where I'm gonna leave it. I'll just leave you guys with some pretty music. So, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on all my social media for the next time I post a video. And I will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.